Design is the Problem. This is a presentation based on the book by Nathan Shedroff, and it's called The Future of Design Must Be Sustainable. Nathan is a professor, or actually the chair of the department at the California College of the Arts in Design Strategy. And I met Nathan at the Designers Accord about 3 years ago when I attended with Chris Helm of FIT. The Designers Accord is basically a pledge that designers can make to state that they will operate in a more responsible fashion and encourage their clients to do so as well. And what we worked on at the Designers Accord was a toolkit or handbook for design educators to put forth sustainability in their courseware. So what is sustainability? What we'll talk about are definitions and domains, systems perspective, sustainability frameworks and tools, and sustainable design strategies. Now, why the focus on design? Design can have such an incredible impact on so many things, and I'm not talking just about colors and the aesthetics of something, but design can impact how we think, how we operate, and how we live. So, for instance, when we're trying to reduce pollution in traffic and we want more people to take bicycles, we can place bike racks in more places around buildings, and enough bike racks so that there is room for everyone to bike to work. Now, if you had to park your bike 10 blocks away because there just weren't enough bike racks, it would be a disincentive to do that. By making things easier for people to behave in a particular way, design can encourage that behavior and support and sustain it. So the official definition of sustainability from the Brundtland Commission, and this is a paraphrase, is the use and development that meets today's needs without preventing those needs from being met by future generations. Simply put, don't do things today that make tomorrow worse for your kids, for your grandkids. So what is sustainability? Here are the three domains it encompasses, and we looked at this, and as I mentioned, it's often called different things. This is financial, social, and environmental. These are the triple bottom line components, which could also be referred to, as you saw, people, planet, profits, or ecology, economy, and equity. So in business terms can be financial capital, human capital, and natural capital. And this actually is part of a system called natural capital, which was devised by Hunter Lovins, which we'll look at a little bit more. And in terms of society, it's money, people, and natural resources. Now, there's an interaction between all of these. Some companies choose to focus on one aspect of them, but we really encourage them to focus on all aspects for the best results, both for the company and for society. So what do we need to understand society from a systems perspective? Diversity equals resiliency, centralization and decentralization, competition, cooperation, vitality, and stakeholders. Let's look at those. So diversity equals resilience. So basically what that means is diversity is a good thing. You've heard that only the strong survive. So diversity can create innovation, but it can also weed out either aspects of nature that aren't strong enough to survive or to develop into more beneficial ones for society. Centralization, optimization and efficiency, standardization, economies of scale, and coordination. By creating a centralization, there's a shared information and shared assets and resources that's beneficial to all the participants. Decentralization can also help with taking local expertise and appropriateness. So, for instance, something that works in New York may not work as well in Ohio, even though the principles are the same. We live in slightly different ways based on the geography, the density of the population, and certain other factors like that. So by decentralizing, we can actually have a higher and quicker response to situations. It also creates a resiliency and robustness because we're not dependent on the centralized system. Even though we benefit from some of the resources, we can act quickly and be more resilient and robust when needed. Competition. So competition is a really great thing because it increases variety. And what happens with competition is it enhances innovation, And what happens is it also rewards better performance and responds better to change and to challenges. So by having competition, we encourage society and creative minds to devise better solutions, more affordable solutions, more sustainable solutions. Cooperation. Needless to say, we're all on this planet together, and cooperation is really what's going to make a difference when it comes to sustainability. So by having standards that we apply to, whether it's in terms of a seal, some kind of a green seal that helps us all understand what a product stands for when it says it has this seal. It helps increase the volume and scale. By working collectively, we can accomplish more. We can share our best practices, increase the likelihoods of succeeding, and also stabilize markets. By not fighting with each other but working cooperatively, we can stabilize a market which benefits everyone in the long run. And you can see from this picture there's a diversity of products shown, and so all of these products use electricity. That's a standard that was developed that we all use and all products benefit from. Now, where we see a standard not working, if you more than one cell phone in your lifetime, you know that they all have different plugs and adapters, and that lack of standards is really a problematic aspect, and we would all benefit from having one standard so we wouldn't have to keep creating plugs and getting new devices and adapters, etc. It's good for the marketplace in terms of us needing to buy more stuff, but from a sustainable point of view, it's actually problematic and creates a lot of waste. So what needs to happen, though, for that to happen would be cooperation across all the providers of cell phones, for example, for them to decide on best practices if they could agree, and then to increase the likelihood of success, they'd have to be on board with it and find a way for it to be a win-win, both in terms of their own product and in terms of sharing the wealth, both financially and in their product success. But this also could form the foundation for innovation, because devising a universal plug to fit that standard and to adapt to all these devices that may already exist in the marketplace would actually require a lot of innovation. Stakeholders. This is a really important aspect. When we look at this quadrant, we see that there are different stakeholders that we may have to apply different marketing messages to. For instance, we may have to have different sets of standards for. So for instance, in business, you have your employees, your distributors, your partners, your suppliers, the media, investors, and clients. In organizations, or NGOs, you have organizations. NGOs stands for non-governmental organizations. So that could be like the Rainforest Alliance. It's a non-profit organization. It's not run by the government, and it's referred to commonly as an NGO. So those organizations, those NGOs can have as stakeholders organizations, unions, and institutions. They also can have employees, distributors, partners, suppliers, media, investors, and clients, but their primary ones are organizations, unions, and institutions. With government in the lower left quadrant, we see courts, departments, lawmakers, and those can be on the city, state, federal, and international level. And then with individuals, we have customers, fans, teams, groups, and communities that make up different sort of collectives that individuals belong to. And as you can see, there's some crossover within these groups. But when you think about sustainability, all of these different quadrants have slightly different needs and ways that they might approach sustainability, even though the end goal can be the same.